Just a year ago, the Tea Party seemed to be in the ascendancy. More than 80 freshmen were swept into Congress, promising to take back government from the Washington elite, indeed shrink government in the lives of Americans. Immediately, they railed against TARP, the bank bailouts and the president's healthcare reform. So how is it that the Tea Party appears to be lining up in favour of Newt Gingrich, the candidate who's favoured an individual mandate for healthcare, something the Tea Party claims to despise? Well, we think Michelle Bachmann makes the point better than we ever could. Take a look.
When you're talking about taking over $100 million and when your office is on the Rodeo Drive of Washington, D.C., which is K Street, and you're taking money to influence the outcome of legislation in Washington, that's the epitome of the establishment. That's the epitome of a consummate insider.
Judson Phillips is the founder of the Tea Party Nation, and I'm delighted to say he joins us. Good afternoon, Judson.
Hey, Martin, good afternoon.
I know that you've been personally attracted to Newt Gingrich in this race for some time, but can you tell me, how is it that Tea Partiers can flock to support a man who spent 30 years in Washington and has been corrupted by virtually every vice that the Tea Party rails against?
Well, I don't know that he's been corrupted at all, but what we're looking for... millions of dollars from healthcare businesses and companies, 1.6 million from Freddie Mac, and so on. Well, first of all, A, Newt's an entrepreneur. B, that didn't go to his personal pocket, that went to his corporation. But, you know, what we're looking for, or at least what I'm looking for someone who is a revolutionary. Newt led the 1994 conservative revolution in Congress. I'm looking for someone who will come into the White House and do the very same thing. And that's what Newt Gingrich is saying he will do when he's elected. And he's got the track record for doing it. But I thought that Tea Partiers wanted their politicians to be conservative by conviction. But Gingrich is clearly a convenient conservative. When it suits him to oppose climate change, he does so. When it doesn't, he appears in ads with former Speaker Nancy Pelosi. You know, I've personally asked Newt about that a few days ago, and, you know, he says that's the dumbest thing he ever did. You know, but I don't know
Judson,
about anybody else, but I don't hold folks to the perfection
standard.
Sorry? He did it, and he goes, oops, I made a mistake. I don't hold politicians to the perfection standard. People can and do make mistakes, and as long as they learn from those mistakes and move forward, I can accept that. How about then the hypocrisy standard, Judson, of suggesting that Barney Frank should be sent to jail, and at the same time as he does so, he knows full well that he personally banked $1.6 million from Freddie Mac for his historical services? He was a consultant. That's what he said he did. He offered them advice. No, but I'm asking you about the hypocrisy. Don't make bad loans. I mean, that's just, that's kind of so obvious. The question it would be, why did Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae even have to go ask him that? What about Gingrich's serial adultery and Rick Perry's suggestion that unfaithfulness in marriage is a sure sign of unfaithfulness in other parts of one's life? I mean, Perry referenced the business world, but what about that as an accusation against Gingrich? You know, by all accounts, when Gingrich got married, he converted to Catholicism, and from everything I've been told, he's a changed man. I'll accept that. Given the publicity he's had recently, if he weren't a changed man, I think we would be hearing about it, sort of like we heard about things about Herman Cain. So when Rick Perry makes the point that if you've been a serial adulterer, it's an indication of an endemic personality, a disposition to cheat, you reject that entirely? I believe in the human possibility to change. And like I said, from everything I've heard from people who personally know Newt Gingrich, because this is his third marriage. How do you know it's this time that he's made the change? Well, like I said, based on what people who know him much better than I do have told me, they say he's a changed man. And again, given all the attraction or all the attention he's getting right now, if he were not, I think we'd be hearing about it. You've been adamant, Judson, throughout this that Gingrich was going to rise to the top, and I give you due props for that. But are you confident that he is sufficiently disciplined, or do you share one writer's view that he's literally a walking hand grenade that could detonate at any moment? And do we really want a man like that in charge of the most powerful nation on the earth? Well, I don't quite agree with Peggy Noonan on that. Newt Gingrich is, without a doubt, the brightest guy on the stage. I mean, it's just very obvious when those debates are going on, he's the brightest guy up there. When he faces Barack Obama in the debates, it's just going to be painfully obvious who the brightest guy on the stage is. And I do want somebody who's a visionary because, let's face it, we all agree our government right now is broken and needs to be fixed. And we need somebody who really thinks and understands the past and who has the vision to make real change up there. And as far as I'm concerned, the only guy who can do that is Newt Gingrich.
Remarkable. Judson Phillips, thank you very much indeed. And the coals for our steak dinner are not quite ready, so hang in there.
Hey, I'm looking forward to that steak dinner.
Okay.